first thing you need to do is head over to your local courthouse and ask for these documents called the Firearms Restraining Order. South Beloit Police Chief Adam Truman is concerned how his department is going to monitor those that leave Illinois and bring marijuana right here to Wisconsin. Well, as you can see here, there are nearly 250 solar panels, and those panels power up about 2/3 of the Natural Science Center here at Highland. To help make this a little bit easier for Jack, they also have this controller that allows them to move it themselves. I'm out here at Davis Park, where students created several different designs to turn this open area you can see right here behind me into a focal point for downtown Rockford. Earlier today were dozens of squad cars on both sides of the highway. The scene is just heartbreaking, and what's left is the bare remnants of a tragedy that happened just hours ago. This summer's project focuses on tearing down the parking lot that was previously in this spot and building a much larger one. I spoke with a few students who say this was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. They heard multiple gunshots, they saw people running out of the building, and they watched police handle large rifles. Right now, each of these machines costs $25, but with this new legislation, that can go up to $250. Brian Robb received a call from a neighbor that nobody ever wants to hear. The barn which holds his livestock was up in flames and starting to crumble. Kennels that used to be in this location only measured right here at 3 feet tall. Well, now with this new renovation, they stretch all the way up to 6 feet tall, making it much easier for employees to do their jobs. Close friends and family came together with balloons, flowers, and candles, not just to celebrate Mother's Day, but to celebrate Zachary's son Shaquille's 24th birthday. I'm here in the 600 block of Stevenson Street, which is just down the road from where Fort's body was found. Police say that there was an incident at this location that is a part of their investigation into Fort's death. The big topic of conversation tonight is the odor coming from that Winnebago County landfill. Now, Dave Kelly, a board member, says that talk needs to start now about the ordinance regarding its operations. Now, this ordinance has not been updated since the 1960s, when the county was the owners of that landfill. Life-saving skills were put to the test as the first responders from multiple agencies responded to this mock airplane crash, involving 150 volunteers acting as passengers. I am here at the Citgo gas station off of 11th Street here in Rockford. Right now, what we do know is that the man who was a 30-year-old victim who was stabbed in the neck, he did arrive at the hospital, and police are saying he does have potentially life-threatening injuries. Many schools around the state line are experiencing a drop in student attendance. Rockford University had a 4% decrease in their overall enrollment from fall of 2017 to the fall of 2018. In 2017, we saw there were 1,262 students. Then in fall of 2018, that was 1,211 students. TSA officers talked extensively about the items that they see passengers try to sneak through security, such as knives disguised as lipstick, keys, and hairbrushes, things officers can easily detect. According to Jewish leaders, there are around 600 Jewish people in the city, and after this morning's shooting, many were concerned that this might impact those living in our area. After speaking with many motorcycle riders, they say driving on grass clippings can be just as slippery as ice.
Real that they're tearing it down.
It's a little saddening.
It really hurts me that they're tearing down all these old beautiful buildings.
After 123 years, the Kishwaukee Elementary School building is coming down. But many community members say the memories made will never be forgotten.
Recess time, when they used to make the big snow plows back in the back, we used to play King of the Mountains back there in big snowball fights.
Johnny Rucker attended Kishwaukee School in the 80s.
That's right there. I guess it was the office now that they just tore down, but that used to be my pre-kindergarten class.
Rucker says he's not surprised the school is being demolished, given the condition it's in.
And the kids nowadays need air conditioning and stuff like that, and that school probably didn't have it.
Others believe it's a waste to remove the school completely.
Even if you don't use it as a school, you can always use it as something else. Either homes for the homeless, or you can do tutoring there of different grades.
Rockford Public Schools 205 says the space will turn into a playground and parking lot for Constance Lane Elementary School, where kids from Kishwaukee, Nelson, and a portion of Beyer will attend starting this fall.
Growing up around this area, lots done changed. A lot of the houses are gone now, so I guess it's a new beginning.
In Rockford, Brittany Karlin, 23 News. 7-year-old Jack Hughes was born with cerebral palsy, and because of his disability, he could never play like the other kids.
As a parent, so one thing that when you have a child with disability, you want them to have friends.
Jack's parents bought a motorized toy car and reached out to Hononegah High School's State Line Robotics team to see if they could find a way to customize it to Jack's needs.
We're looking for them to adjust the double joysticks to just one side.
The robotics team ended up doing a whole lot more.
We started off by getting the wiring done and programming it so that we had the base so it would actually move.
Then we wanted to keep him comfortable with the seat, and we want to make sure he had his head positioned right and make sure he was comfortable with what he was in.
To help make this a little bit easier for Jack, they also have this controller that allows them to move it themselves.
It's really great because I could see him at school now playing with all of his friends, and it makes me really happy.
Jack's older sister Molly Hughes has played with him every day since he got the new chair.
He likes to spin in a circle and then stop and run forward and hit me with it. That's one of his favorite things to do.
In Rockton, Brittany Karlin, 23 News.
The reason I'm still here today is because of the outcome and because of the people.
1 year ago, Dixon High School principal Michael Grady was getting ready for graduation practice when the unthinkable happened.
Heard some shots, had one of my faculty members yell in, we have an active shooter, and I yelled at the students to get out. They ran out to the north. I saw Officer Dallas leave through the south doors.
School resource officer Mark Dallas confronted the accused shooter, Matthew Milby, shooting him in the shoulder and preventing anyone else from getting hurt.
An excellent response from our Dixon Police Department, from the Lee County Police Department, from the state police. 92 seconds later, we were safe.
Students say the extensive shooter training they had been through prior to the incident allowed them to stay calm and get out safely.
It kind of makes you think of those situations and what you would do and prepares you for whatever might happen.
Over the last year, Dixon High School has implemented new safety precautions.
You can only enter through the secure vestibule so that we check everybody in. We have 120 extra cameras, and we do have an increased police presence in and around the school.
You're not worried about it happening again because every shooting incident most of the time is isolated. So I wasn't worried about it, and then security all around the school has been stepped up.
In Dixon, Brittany Karlin, 23 News.
It's really disappointing that people, instead of attacking what I write, they attack how I look.
DeKalb native Melissa Blake is a freelance writer and blogger who was born with Freeman-Sheldon syndrome.
It's basically a very rare genetic bone and muscular disorder. So I've had 26 surgeries.
Last month, Blake wrote an opinion piece for CNN criticizing President Donald Trump. A photo of Blake was included. Mark Dice then responded on his YouTube channel.
Some say that Trump should be banned from Twitter, and I wholeheartedly agree, says this alleged journalist.
But some commenters missed the message. They couldn't see past Blake's photo.
And there was just thousands and thousands of comments about my appearance, and one of them was that I should be banned from posting pictures of myself because I'm too ugly.
Even after Blake responded, putting many of those comments in a tweet, the messages didn't stop. She decided to embrace the reaction with 3 selfies on Twitter.
The response I've gotten from my viral tweet, it overshadows all that. The response has been so heartwarming, and so it's really reaffirmed my faith in humanity.
Blake hopes other women can see through the negativity.
And that has always bothered me, that women can't be strong and decisive and speak their mind. So that was really important for me.
Working for you in DeKalb, Brittany Karlin, 23 News.
I've been personally let go from a job for failing a drug test.
After being laid off from his factory job in McChesney Park, Ryan Warren was eager to return.
And then when I came back to work, there was a retest for employees that had been laid off, and I did not know that was going to happen.
His test indicated marijuana in his system, and the company let him go. Warren doesn't think it was right.
It is one of the drugs that stays in your system longer, but that doesn't always indicate impairment. You could have used 3 weeks prior and still test positive 3 weeks later.
Testing for marijuana and revising current work policies is now a big topic of conversation among employers. especially in Illinois, which will legalize marijuana use on January 1st.
It's very important that we communicate, review, and revise those policies.
Alpha Controls and Services is an engineering company that currently has a zero-tolerance policy.
We have random drug testing, and then if we would have an incident, we've got a whole policy to go through, working with that employee to give them an opportunity to remedy the situation.
Owner Frank Rotello is looking into making some changes.
We value our employees. They're our #1 asset, so all of these things revolve around how we deal with our employees, and especially in today's world where you're trying to attract and retain talent, you've really got to look for the best interests of your employees.
Since many of Rotello's employees are at job sites assisting customers and using company vehicles, he believes continuing with a policy similar to his current one might be best.
Making sure we're in compliance, not only for the safety of our employees, but also overall cost of implementing the new policies on our workers' comp and other things.
The big issue here is how do you balance the Illinois law, which allows an employee to use a lawful product like marijuana outside of working hours, and the law which says that an employer cannot discriminate against an employee because of the use of those products, versus the employer's right to have policies and to maintain a drug-free workplace.
Attorney Jim Paragus focuses his practice on employers and fields countless questions concerning the new recreational marijuana law.
And this kind of law, which now calls into question what can you test someone for, when can you take action against someone who uses what is now a lawful product, has really kind of put some questions into how do I manage these risks.
Paragus says the best thing employers can do is be very specific when updating their policy.
This next 6 months that we have until this law becomes effective to review those policies, to review its practices on drug-free workplaces, on drug testing.
And once that's done, Paragus says training is the next step.
Train our supervisors. What kinds of conduct should they be on the lookout for in determining whether or not someone might be impaired or under the influence.
It's exactly what would have helped Warren keep his job.
So I wasn't a bad employee at all. I was probably one of a model employee there. But that one little thing was a deal breaker for them.
Warren believes everything happens for a reason, and failing that drug test brought him to Maple Glen Care Center, where he helps people find the right strand of medical marijuana to ease their symptoms.
I'm sure I help people some way or another, but this I have more of a hands-on, face-to-face helping with people, and that's what I love. I really, really do.
For the 23 News I team, I'm Brittany Karlin.